podcast discussion. I'm your host, Devin3000.
Smash and Crash.
DJ So Suave.
KMart0002.
Alright, and this podcast will be covering Radic. And we're doing this podcast to basically in reply that Sony Santa Monica has said that they're going to be doing at least one more balance patch, and they're going to be taking feedback from the community. So we're going to use this opportunity to, with the best players of our characters, to try and show some like really sensible stuff and how we feel the patch should be handled. So I guess we'll just go from there. We'll start off. So Kmart, how do you feel that Radec does on the tier list and matchups in general for against the cast?
Well, he's really known as one of the worst characters in the game right now.
Okay, yeah.
And I guess you could just say that as of right now, it's just which matchups are worse than others.
Okay, it's like process of elimination.
Basically, I mean, the only other character that supposedly is worse is Toro, but as far as other characters, yeah, it's basically just which is worse. For instance, personally for me, I find that Zeus and Big Daddy are a little bit easier to handle than, like, let's say, like, Kratos, because Kratos can just punish Radec to no end. Mm-hmm. So I would say that characters that have some sort of move that you can work off of could really work. For instance, like Zeus's teleport attack. If I can dodge that, or if I can see it coming, then I can punish. But for Kratos, using his square attacks, there's nothing that Radec can do because his main problem is being able to counter anything, because all of his moves are very punishable.
Okay. So right now Radec just sits at the bottom of the tier list.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Just is probably going to need improvements all around.
A lot of improvements, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. He needs some work.
Alright, so I guess let's with that said, let's move on to what do you guys think should improve? What do you guys think should happen to improve Radec as a character so he doesn't quote unquote suck as much?
I mean, it's pretty. There's so much that you could do. I mean, I literally was able to go through every single one of his attacks and explain how they could be just that much better. And the fact that I can do that is kind of, a little sad. But me and Corey, we detailed some specific ones that we think are a little bit more important. Like, for instance, like this was me and Corey's idea, is the surprise grenade down square. We think that when he's invisible, that the frames should act like a dodge, like Heihachi's wave dash, so that he can escape easier. And I mean, like we were discussing whether the grenade should like explode on contact, but I remember specifically in the beta that it was like that, and they nerfed it specifically. So I mean, that has its uses. So I think that for the surprise grenade, that the invisibility frames should act as a dodge, and increase the hitbox a little bit, because it's rather strict. You have to be like just right up in front of Radec in order to get hit by it.
And this is where he takes out the grenade and like rolls away. Invisible.
Yeah.
It's already kind of a roll, so I could see that having some sort of invincibility.
Might as well just apply the frames to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's rather easy to fix that.
All right. What other moves?
Well, I personally think his down triangle, which is the grenade launcher, well, not the sticky one, but the grenade launcher, should be on contact.
Bounces.
Yes,
right?
that one.
Yeah.
It should be on contact. If they make it on contact, it shouldn't be as spammable as it is right now, because it's the only way he can AP burst without a wall right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if they change that, he wouldn't need many changes otherwise, because it's going to create a whole new level of zoning for him, which he sucks at right now. He's supposed to be a zoning character, yet he can't zone. I mean, any character can just walk right into him and jump over his attacks, or
exactly.
air dodge. There's nothing he can do because they're all slow, they're predictable. He has nothing.
He has
Yeah. So using the grenades, he can use walls, bounce them off the ground, and create a little area of his own where it's harder for them to get in. And if they get hit by it, he can AP or stop them. He can set up all his ulti combos, stuff like that. I mean, it'd be a whole new level for him, in my opinion. It's one of the biggest changes he needs.
So you're saying like that's kind of like a really glaring issue with like just him as a character in general.
Well, the most glaring issue with Radic is he's supposed to be a zoning character who can't zone, and then he's supposed to be able to melee. Yet that's where he's best at, but
it's not sufficient enough, really.
Right. Compared to the other characters, they just completely trump him. He has nothing.
Yeah,
I see.
He has no ability to counter.
Yeah,
basically.
The only thing he can really do is grab, and against characters who jump all the time and can combo out of the grabs. I mean, out of jumping, he has nothing.
Yeah, and in a game like this, jumping is just so powerful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's what.
Yeah. So his zoning it really lacks. It's something that he should be able to do, being like a sniper and stuff. And then when you actually get in, his CQC is his best thing, but still not good enough at all.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just like he's not good at either one. I mean, he doesn't excel at either one. He's not that good at zoning. He's not that good at melee, though. I will say, though, that he definitely has the most important grab game out of all the characters. And I mean that as in he relies on it the most, because that's where he gets his AP. That's where you get your 85 AP combos. That's where you can set off wall burst combos and all that. So it's really vital for him for a grab game, for sure.
So like his whole metagame, it revolves around that
grabbing. Yep.
Yes. That's why I would say one of his worst matchups is Jack, because Jack is always in the air, and it's really hard for him to get AP off of him, because any character that can, is able to stall or anything, that it's really hard to grab them, and that's where he gets most of his AP. So it becomes a problem for him.
Okay.
I see.
So with the improvements that would be made with his zoning and his CQC, how do you feel that would affect his grab game? Like, should it stay the same? Should that be changed in accordance to help balance that, so that now that he has more of a long range type of approach, how should that be handled?
Personally, I don't think it should change, because his grab game isn't like, say, Raiden's or a lot of the other characters who just kill off their AP burst. He doesn't technically AP burst off the grab unless there's a wall.
Yeah.
So it's not going to like completely break him. He gets 80, 90 AP, which most characters can get from their regular combos. So it's really just a really good tactic for him. But as it stands right now, it's his only like efficient way without a wall to get any AP.
Mm-hmm. And I would say that's fair, just because like he is sitting at the bottom of the tier list. He kind of has like suffers in all the fields. So
yeah,
okay, that's fair.
I would personally say that it would be better, in my opinion, it would be better to buff the low tier characters and only slightly nerf the high tier characters.
Right.
I personally think that's better than just totally, nerfing all the high tier characters to like mid tier or something like that. I think that it would still provide a good challenge to maybe nerf some of the cheap aspects of high tier characters.
They should just have their the things that make them really like ridiculous, like good calls like Iceberg, where it makes him he's taken off right off the ground. You can't grab him or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's a lot of things, stuff like that.
So you feel like you should just make the bad characters stronger and don't really touch the strong characters at all.
I think they should be touched, but not so much that they become
we don't want
bad characters.
We want to we want the good characters to be good, but we want the bad characters to also be good.
Yes. I would give like a perfect example would be like Nathan Drake or Ratchet. I think they're balanced. I mean, they're high tier, but at the same time they're balanced.
Yeah.
I think it's just So it's just more of a matter of just buffing the low tier characters.
All right. Smash, want to take us to the next phase?
Well, before we go to the next phase, would you want to change any of his supers?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Well, do you have anything? Go ahead.
No, I meant I was agreeing with you. Yeah, that his supers are fine. I mean, his level 1 is perfectly fine for me. I mean, like, you can fake people out with it, and of course I have my Wasp Stomp set up where I down grab them, and then I fire off the super, but I wait and I determine where they're going to roll, and Radec can turn around fast enough to where if you were to roll behind him, that he could just turn around and shoot you, and you could get a kill off of it. And of course, wall setups too work with his level 1, so I think his level 1 for sure is good. The only thing that I would say about the level 2 is maybe make Radec part of the hitbox. That's the only thing I can really think of. Otherwise, it's perfect.
For level 2, I think one thing that should change is it's different from a lot of the other level 2s. When he casts his level 2, he doesn't, like during the freeze frames where it's slowing down the game and he gets to fire it, he doesn't fire it for like a second till it's like a second afterwards. Every other characters, when they do their level 2, it immediately comes out before everybody gets to be able to move again.
Right,
but Radic's, you actually have to like specifically time everything unlike other characters.
Yeah, so really the start of the level 2 is more of just a theatrical thing, and then everyone else
the
just
active
carries
frames on the attack don't happen until like a second afterwards.
Right.
Unlike every other characters where the active frames happen immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to have like those active frames during like the
I want them to be a little
cinematic.
sooner so that it's not so like outside of doing a couple combos, you have to be able to like to punish people who jump. They have to be like near the ground. It's really obnoxious time, and some characters it's impossible to do it against. And
yeah, it's kind of like how with Kratos' level 2, where like he'll start to slow down, and that's when he stabs down his sword. That once it returns back, if you were there, you're going to die.
The active frames are almost immediately. Like you have like a second to air dodge or do your dodge. If you don't, you're dead. With Radec though, you have tons of time to jump, dodge, whatever. You have all the time in the world.
Okay.
What seems like all the time in the world, anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't think we need to talk about Radic's level 3. That's a pretty good level 3
it's
right
perfectly
there.
balanced.
Yeah.
Perfect. Fine.
Alright.
Alright, so what about glitches?
I honestly don't know that many with Radic, so I mean I don't know if KMart does, but I don't.
Well, one that I learned was that when you're 2v2ing with Emmett and he has his turret out, it stops his sniper, basically. So let's say that if I'm in the corner and I have Emmett, he's helping me out, and he has a turret right in front of me, if I use my sniper, it doesn't go across the screen. It just stops where the turret is.
Wow.
I heard about that one. I've
Yeah,
never
it annoys me so bad because me and Light Diamond 93, we were doing some 2v2s, and I was in the corner and I was trying to help him out, but there was nothing I could do because the sniper was just useless, basically.
So you're saying that the turret acts like it's a part of the stage itself, so you can't shoot through it. That's pretty funny.
bad.
I gotta say.
Yeah. That's the one that I can thoroughly remember right now. Other than that, I can't think of anything else that's like really glaring.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think at the moment, but yeah, that was just the one that I could for sure remember.
Yeah, from what I've seen of Radic, he doesn't seem as like a very glitchy character at all.
He's
Yeah, I haven't seen anything weird with him.
Yeah, he's just bad.
He's just
He's not glitchy, he's just bad.
Yeah.
next thing you know it, in the patch they're just going to remove Radec. He's just not going to be in the game now.
Yeah.
too useless for play.
I think that maybe one other thing is that sometimes his level 1 will just shoot straight into the ground and it'll destroy itself, basically.
Yeah, that is I've noticed that a lot. It's happened to me. Like if you target them when they're too close, or when it'll just plop into the ground, and not do anything. It's really freaking obnoxious.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, so I mean, like, other than that, I think it's pretty good.
It's one of the most annoying things. But other than that, yeah, he seems pretty good on glitches. I mean, there's nothing I've ever noticed.
Okay.
Okay, so not really any glitches.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Alright. Now, while we reiterate, like, what do you want to stress on the most with Radec?
Well,
Basically to buff his zoning game a little bit, because that's the thing that he's lacking, and the fact that he doesn't have good. I mean, like, he could potentially have good zoning tools if they buff him accordingly, but he still needs that for sure. He needs better zoning, and I mean, his melee is all right. I mean, one thing that me and Corey also were going to stress was the startup frames of his gun boot, the square move. It's it should be like Emmett's basically. Emmett, he like his square move, his knife attack, whatever, it comes out really, really fast. But for Radec, it's kind of slow, and he needs some sort of counter, basically.
Right.
Because and that's like the one way that he could really counter.
Oh, I just remembered one thing that I don't know if this is as much of a glitch, but more of an oversight. Radec has an infinite on Sly.
It's not an infinite. It's all lag dependent.
Well, yeah. Well, regardless, either fix the netcode. That's something that if you can just like jab.
Because I've tested on other Sly players or just random people I played with. If you just mash the counterattack button, he can you get out of it. It's really dependent on the lag, just like a lot of other characters. I know it's annoying for a Sly player, but it's not an actual glitch. It's a netcode issue.
Okay, so just another glaring thing of netcode.
Yeah.
So offline, this wouldn't be an issue at all.
No. I tested it. You can't do it to him.
Okay, that's good to know.
I wanted to know because back then, before all the landing lag and the nerfs to Sly originally, I was like, how am I going to deal with this guy,
Mm-hmm.
So I had to find a way, and somebody mentioned the Infinite. I was like, well, I'll use an Infinite. I don't care. And then I tested it, and it didn't work. So I found that out.
Trying to find the easy way out, huh?
Yeah, against Sly, it was impossible.
Well, Rax. Well, according to you guys, Rax's such a bad character. He needs all he can get.
Yeah, he does.
I mean,
Scrounging.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking to Kmart earlier about, what the most important things to change about him are, and the 6 things I came up with that would be, just fix him entirely. Like, these would be the biggest things. We've already mentioned the grenades on contact, which said would create a whole new level of zoning for him. You just mentioned the gun boot, which I think it needs to be faster. It should be punishable, but it shouldn't be so easy to counter. Like, it shouldn't be just, I'm going to hold down block and you can't do anything about it, and then you get a free kill or whatever on him. It's obnoxious. It's useless. In fact, I've learned not to use it unless I know I can hit with it. The other one was his forward square needs to have. We just came with the idea that it should be 2 separate attacks, which has always been mentioned, and that he should be able to turn around during the second attack. That way, they can't just roll behind him and punish him for it. Because as it stands right now, the forward square, which is his best get off me option, it's just too slow and too punishable. It's 2 attacks, they get behind him, it's a free super. All they have to do is block the first attack, roll behind him, super, dead. It's one of his. I've found that I die more often with that attack than then it helps me. So I've actually learned not to use it when I was playing Radec.
Yeah. And another one that we discussed is probably one of his most useless attacks as it stands is his up square.
That too, yeah. We have another. Yeah, there's the flamethrower as well. So
yeah, and the flamethrower. I think that for the up square, it should act more like Sweet Tooth's uppercut, so that he actually has like a hitbox in front of him to an extent.
Yep.
And so yeah, just basically a bigger hitbox for it, and because as it stands, all you can do is with Big Daddy and Zeus, you can go up to them and you can use up square, but that's it, really.
They have super armor, so what that can do for you.
And this includes the aerial version too, because like that could also kill confirm is that jumping in and using your air up square and hitting someone, and then it tosses them up. You use your level 1, you kind of aim up a little bit and then shoot them, but the hitbox is
launch it.
Yeah, and it's just like it's so small, and I've tried it on like Kratos, like any characters that are hunching, you can't hit them.
Yep.
But it looks like you can hit them though. That's the
it'll
problem.
go right through them. The problem is the hitbox is so tiny. Like even like the motion of him swinging the dagger up won't hit him. It has to be the end of the knife at the end of the hitbox. It's really stupid.
That's a pretty bad hitbox.
It's awful.
His arm needs to like be a part of it or something. But yeah, you can barely hit it off, and it's kind of
it's only used for some like wall combos, which is one of the grab combos I like to do. It's very useful, but other than that, it's pointless. For the ground version, another thing I would change is the recovery frames. They're just bad. Like him putting the dagger away looks really cool, but it's so slow that I think it's like at the worst recovery frames I've ever seen at any attack in the game. It's awful.
Yeah, and they should.
You can't interrupt them at all.
No, you can't.
You have to watch him put his knife away.
Yeah, it's really cool looking, but it's awful.
Yeah, and going off of that, what he said is that it should also combo into his up triangle better, because I find it weird that sometimes I can, like doing a wall bounce or something like that, sometimes I can use the knife and then I can follow up with up triangle and I can burst off of it, but more than half of the time I can't. So
exactly.
I think that they should just make it to where you could just combo off of that, just that. So up square, up triangle, just a good way to just get them away from you so that you can go back to zoning.
All right.
Yep.
And I think
What?
Oh, I think obviously one other thing that needs to be addressed, obviously, is his sniper, the infamous sniper. It was kind of hard. We were trying to discuss what things could go with it. One of the ideas we had was that if you hold forward triangle, that it stays out. Yeah, it stays out and you fire it by letting go of forward triangle, so that it doesn't. I don't know. It's just that was one of our ideas, is that to have it to where you could just hold it out basically and then let go and then you could fire. And if we do, and there was also talk of being able to aim it, and if that was possible, it would only be like able to aim it very slightly, because like for instance on Sandover Village the sniper is useless, because it can't do anything. So probably like being able to aim it slightly maybe, and not as much as Ratchet obviously. And if there was any way that you can aim it or make it a better utility, that we would definitely reduce the AP gain from 30 to 20.
All right.
Because we know that the sniper, that's what he's known for, and everyone's spamming it. I also, back then, I had an idea that if you use forward triangle, you fire it, and then you press forward triangle again, you have to reload it. I thought of that as a possible idea, but it depends on how Sony Santa Monica is really going to take to buffing Radec. I mean, are they really going to add more animation frames, or are they just going to edit just like the aspects of each move without altering anything pretty big?
Right. Well, I have 3 other attacks that I was also bothered with by Radec. His flamethrower, I think it should act a lot like Isaac's, where he can combo out of it. Obviously, we don't want to kill confirm and whatnot. Just make it so he can, hit with it. So it's because it's got a lot of active frames, but the recovery on it's so slow he can't combo. He can't even grab out of it really. So he just does it and then that's it. There's nothing. I think he should be able to combo out of it, maybe get a grab in, something, just where it has a use other than being a waste of a button input.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, all your moves should always have some sort of use. Some will be more useful than others, but, it's there and it should be there for a reason.
It should be a mix-up, having different options to use for your character rather than just relying on the same ones, because that's the big problem with Radec. He's very predictable.
And he's very linear, so he's just straightforward with what he has.
Mix up and, with the improvements on the moves, he'd be able to do so.
He needs a better use of deception.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 attacks I was thinking about are Grenade Sticky. To me, it feels like a really gimpy sniper. Like, it comes out really slow. I think it has the same, frames as the sniper, only its travel time is slower. It's easy to block. Any veteran player, anybody who knows what they're doing, is just going to walk away and block it or air dodge it. It's really pointless. I mean, you can't even grab them or anything because, like I said, they're just going to walk away. It has its uses here and there, but like I said, against an experienced player, it's just not going to work.
In general, it's just a bad move.
Yeah,
it should be
I
faster.
never use it.
Its uses are, it has practical uses when it hits and you can figure out what to do with it, but as it stands right now, it's too slow when it comes out. It should come out faster. It shouldn't be just a weak sniper. And that's how I've always felt about it. It's just a sniper with less chances of hitting and less uses once it does hit.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
And probably one other idea that I thought was really interesting was to work with the test-like grenade, the one where he throws it up and it shocks them. Now, I mean, there's different ways you could go about it. Some people said that you can make the grenade shock on impact instead, or that you can detonate it yourself. Or
that would be interesting.
Yeah, so there's that, and then I thought of an idea that it could act like Sackboy's cake, to where when you throw it out and it stays there for 5 seconds or something like that, so he can work around it, because it's kind of hard for him to attack aerial opponents. So if he was able to like, I mean, yeah, it kind of promotes camping a little bit, but I mean, if it could not like Sackboy's shock pad to where it just stays out forever, but like his cake where it stays out for like 5 seconds, that you could just keep that and you can work around it. That might be a little interesting, more interesting, and maybe like increase the shock time window a little bit, because if you want a KC off of it, you have to anticipate it basically. It's just you throw it out and then you would have to use your level 1 and just hope that they just fell into it and then you shoot them.
Right. Right now it's really bad. However, I didn't know about the idea for I didn't see that part, the triggering it on command. I think that would be an excellent change personally, because if you can trigger on command, you can set up kill confirms. You can set up it makes people like want to avoid the attack. It'd be like on contact only. They don't know when you're going to trigger it, which means, you know, if they jump towards it, you throw it, and they jump away, you can trigger it late. Or if they get closer, you can trigger early. So that would give it a lot of uses. I think that'd be really good, in my opinion, having the remote detonation on it.
Yeah. So I mean,
I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, there's just so many things you could do. I mean, he's just one of those characters that, you know, at first it kind of seemed good on paper, but then just executing it, he's rather clunky and linear, and he needs more deception, because, I mean, that's what his character is all about.
Yeah,
or at least how I use him, personally.
He's still in kind of a state where he's still pretty much a blank slate and needs to, like, be molded.
Yeah.
I've always
the
felt
character that he really should be.
Yeah.
Right. I've always felt like he's a character who's just, he needs tweaks. Like, he has all the moves, he just needs to have them tweaked where they're useful or they have better options. Yeah. He has balanced supers. His level 1's doesn't have many kill confirms. It's used the way I think the game should have been made anyway. And having level 1 supers just as a read. And, you know, read and
like kind of setup kind of thing.
Yeah, that's how I've always felt level 1 supers should have been. And then his level 2 is good for getting a single kill. It's mostly good at that. I wouldn't even want to change it. For me, the active frames are really annoying. And then his level 3 is perfectly balanced. It's a level 3 that gets 2 kills. It doesn't end a 3 stock match game, and it gets 2 kills. It's really good for that.
Yeah.
So his supers are fine. It's just the rest of his moves make it so he can't gain AP very efficiently against a lot of the cast, because they just have better tools on him. So, I mean, even if he didn't get all... I mean, obviously he's not going to get all the changes, but if he got some of these, I think it'd really, you know, improve his game.
At least make him a more viable character.
Exactly.
Yeah. I personally think so too, yeah. I think that probably the last thing that I would want to address would be his machine gun. And me and Corey were thinking you probably have the idea of being able to like cancel out of it. Because like as far as it goes, if you miss with the machine gun, once again, it's just all about punishability. You can just totally go in on Radec easily if you whiff the machine gun. So like being able to like hold down triangle, it determines how many bullets you shoot, which could be like a maximum of 3 or like maybe 4 or something like that. So that determines that. And then during his reload animation, if you press left or right, you can just like kind of dodge out of it.
A roll would be nice. That way it's not perfectly immune to being punished. You can be grabbed and whatnot. So it'd make it very viable. I think
he needs safer moves, you know, and safer options, because a lot of his stuff is really iffy in any kind of match. I mean, like, aside from maybe like his air forward square, which I love to use, that one is perfectly fine to me or something like that. But a lot of his moves, like, you know, like the sniper and even the test light grenade, just it coming out is really slow. And his machine gun, it's just that a lot of it is just, if you dodge it, it's just like, oh, guess what? Free combo on Radic.
Right. There's one thing I forgot to mention was the this isn't a necessary change, but I think it would also help him a lot. A lot of characters have air cancels for their attacks. They attack and then they can cancel out of it, like Kratos, for example. And there's a lot of other characters too. Yeah, swings and jumps. I think a viable option for Radic is his best move right now, in my opinion, is his air neutral kick.
Yes.
It's his best move. However, it combos into everything he can do. He has to have it. Without it, he sucks right now. I mean, even more than he already does, let's just say. But it's the only thing that keeps him afloat right now. It has good active frames. It combos and everything. It's great. So I think a good change would be to make it jump cancelable, like other attacks. It's got short range. It requires his body, unlike Kratos, who has, like, you know, giant flailing
chains.
Arms. Yeah, big arms. Radix is his foot. So, I mean, it doesn't have ridiculous frames, but being able to jump cancel off it would make it so that you don't have to commit to your best attack, 100%. You can do it. It doesn't lead to a kill confirm or anything like that, so it's not game breaking, but it allows him to do a lot of things. I think being able to jump cancel off it would be an excellent option for him.
Yeah,
Kratos
and I would agree too.
Flailing inflatable tube man. So, does that pretty much cover all of his moves? Definitely went into a lot more detail. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that covers about his most. Do you have any other ones?
No, we covered just the biggest one basically,
okay.
and a lot of our most important ideas that we were trying to think up.
Yeah, I think the only attacks we missed are the air forward square and the up shotgun, which we both agree is pretty much fine the way it is.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't need to be changed. They can combo just fine. I think the only problem with this up shotgun with his combos is because of Big Daddy's and like Fat Princess's hitboxes. It might need a larger upper hitbox. That way it can hit those characters more fluidly, because it's very hard to hit them with it. It's really obnoxious.
Yeah.
I play against Domino all the time, Big Daddy main, so I know how hard it is to hit with him. Fat Princess is even harder. But other characters, it's consistent. You can hit every single time.
Okay.
I don't know if this would count as a Raiden issue or Zeus issue, but they're the only two. They're the only two characters in the game that he cannot grab and then jump and kick, jump in there, which is his best combo right now. They cannot do them two characters.
All he can do is when he grabs Raiden or Zeus, all he can do is do up triangle. He can't.
He can't do his main. Oh.
Okay. All right. So the big issues were work on Radic's zoning and his CQC with pretty much all the suggestions you made with like almost all of his moves.
It's pretty much fix everything.
Definitely a lot of work that
He
needs to be
tweaks
done.
everything. He has way too many useless attacks.
Definitely work that needs to be done on him. Gotta see a Radic buff. So, listen up.
Last time it was
Santa Monica.
extra frames on his Zappy laser.
And,
That really helped.
I guess,
Basically summing all this up in 2 words: buff Radec.
yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And with
Big
that
buffs.
said, and with that said, I'm Devin3000.
I'm Smash and Crash.
I'm CJ So Suave.
And I'm KMart0002.
And that is it for our Radic podcast. We'll see you next time.